Now, before we talk about Cersei, we have to talk about her father, Tywin. I was thinking about the other day, and I've noticed kind of an interesting heuristic for understanding the Lannister family relations. Of his three children, Tywin kind of gave part of himself to each one of them, a very different part of himself to each one of them. And going off my video on the Trinity, they all kind of have a part of him. Jaime has his body, Cersei has his spirit, and Tyrion has his soul, more or less. Jaime has Tywin's kind of form. Jaime's a big, a big, good-looking, strong guy who's an excellent swordsman and looks like a leader and who inspires people. Tyrion has Tywin's conniving mind. He has his competency, his ability to rule, etc. And Cersei has his ruthless ambition and his desire for power about all other things. And all three of them are failures because of the things they lack. Tyrion, while Tyrion is competent and clever, he doesn't really have the drive, which I'll get into more in his video when I do a profile on him. But he doesn't really have the drive, in my opinion, to be Tywin. Nor does he have the body to be Tywin. Because if he looked like his brother, Tywin would probably be happy to have him as his heir. Jaime is a good-looking guy. He's a strong guy. He's a good swordsman. He's not really an administrator or a thinker, and he has no ambition whatsoever. And that brings us to Cersei, who possesses Tywin's will to power, as it were, his spirit, but none of the things that make Tywin Tywin. And really what makes Tywin Tywin, and what is Tywin's greatest trait other than his will to power, is his mind. Tywin was not famous for being a great knight. I've never heard anyone say he was a great fighter or anything like that. He wears armor, he rides horses, etc. But he's known for being the guy who's in charge. The guy who's always got a plan. The guy who can pull money out of his ass, basically, is, because they have the expression that Tywin Lannister shits gold, because of his incredible wealth and also his incredible ability to manage things. So that's really what Tywin's more known for than for being a great warrior. If he's thought of as a great warrior, it's because he hires people and he comes up with good strategies. Although I think debatably he's not that great a warrior because of his performance in the War of Five Kings. But it doesn't matter because he won through cunning. He didn't win through brute force. He won by making deals. He won by undermining. So Cersei is the most dangerous of the three because she has that limitless will to power, but she has none of Tywin's brains. She has no ability to be pragmatic. She has no ability to stay her hand, to delay gratification, to delay acting. She doesn't. She has no impulse control. And that's why she always loses, and that's why everything she touches turns to a disaster. Tyrion does a half-decent job when he's put in charge, but he'll never be really put in charge because no one takes him seriously because he's a dwarf. And I think, honestly, he doesn't really have that much of a desire for it, regardless of what is kind of implied. And Jaime just, they try to put him in charge of stuff, but he doesn't want to do it, and I don't think he would be very good at it anyways. So the other two will probably never be in a position to do immense harm to the realm, on the same way Cersei is. Tyrion, I think, did do immense harm to the realm by killing the only person who could have seen the realm through the winter in one piece, but that's kind of a different issue. I mean, in terms of authority, Cersei wants to be in charge. She wants absolute power, and she's willing to just destroy everyone who gets in her way. And she's utterly obsessed with avenging all slights against her, just taking out anyone she sees as a potential rival, She's driven by an immense pride, and she does this in part because she thinks it's the way her father is, but she really doesn't understand anything about her father. Yes, Tywin Lannister has immense pride. Yes, he always gets revenge, and Lannister always pays his debts, but he always does it in a way that is very beneficial, that's very pragmatic, that's very profitable to himself. Like, he wanted to get revenge on King Aerys, so he showed up at the last minute during the War of Five Kings. Sorry, I mean during Robert's Rebellion, my bad. He showed up at the last minute during Robert's Rebellion. Um, when when he showed up, it was after all the battles were over. So he didn't have to do any fighting. He didn't have to bleed any of his troops. He didn't really have to spend much money. And he showed up and sacked King's Landing, and he got the proceeds from that. So he showed up, didn't have to do anything. Won, got revenge on King Aerys, sent his guys in to kill Rhaegar's children and wife, got his daughter married to the king at minimum cost to himself. So he got revenge while at the same time getting something else that he wanted. And that's a reoccurrent theme throughout Tywin's reign. He is very good at doing things both for a pragmatic purpose and for a personal purpose. When he put down the Rains and the Westerland Rebellion and brutally crushed them, yes, it was to avenge an iniquity against himself and a slight against himself, but it was also to establish fear and respect. And Tywin knew that fear and respect are important, but you can't be arbitrary. Because if you're arbitrary or you're too obsessed with killing everyone who mildly looks at you funny, then what happens is what happens to King Aerys, where everyone's just like, this guy's fucking crazy, we can't leave him in power, we got to take him down. And Tywin understood that, and that's why he won the game, and that's why he lived so long and saw his house brought to the height of its power, because he was so good at playing the Game of Thrones, and because he knew when to compromise, etc. I think a really good example of that, and I know this is about Cersei, but we're going to get to her in a minute, was during the aftermath of the War of Five Kings, where he issued all the pardons to the remaining bannermen, because there was no real point in continuing to fight. Now, Joffrey would have probably said, just kill them all. I don't want any truce, I don't want any pardons. But Tywin's like, winter is coming, we need to get the realm back together, we need to get people harvesting. It's done. Robb Stark's dead, the Starks are dead, the war's over. So that's pragmatism. Cersei would not do something like that. So that's kind of the contrast. She thinks that she is the most like her father, and that's kind of always a reoccurring theme with Tywin's three children. Which one is the most like him? The truth is they all possess an aspect from him, and the one that he loves the most is the one who possesses the least important aspect. Looking like a lion isn't that important, because as I said, Tywin isn't Tywin because he's a big blonde guy. Tywin's Tywin because of his ruthlessness, and more importantly than that even, his cunning. So Tyrion is the most like him in terms of capacity, but Cersei is the most like him in terms of her personality, in terms of her will. And that's what makes her so dangerous. So that's kind of an introduction to the Lannisters. I'll do a specific profile on Cersei. This was originally going to be about her, but I kind of just did an introduction. So I think that's important in understanding the three of them. So then I'll do a profile specifically on each of them, on Jaime, on Cersei, on Tyrion, on Tywin. But yeah, I'm sorry if I focused a bit on Cersei in this. Anyways, Argent Templar signing out.